Gran Turismo 7 is my first simulation racer. I wasn't exactly sure what that term meant. How could there be two types of racing games? What was the difference between simulation and arcade? Was one more fantastical and based on the spectacle of the tracks, whilst the other put more emphasis on the driving itself? Was one more... That's all I've got. I don't really get why there's a distinction between these two subgenres. Other than my first point, I don't see much of a difference between GT7 and Forza Horizon 5. When I played Gran Turismo, I thought I'd just get it, you know? I would finally understand what separated it, but it felt just like most racing games. The thing is, I love most racing games. And while Gran Turismo may not be the new genre of racing I expected, there's not many racing games better than this while I'm on the track. Something unique to GT7 is the evolution of the vehicles. As I rose through career mode, I could feel the technology around me becoming more and more powerful. Yet it was never a jarring leap from one race to another. The power under the hood steadily rose the deeper I delved into the story. It became unsettling to return to previous tracks once I'd completed the campaign. This is also the first PlayStation 5 game to really harness the power of the DualSense. The rattling when you drift off track, the jolt when you make a collision, the slight kick when your speedometer flicks back, and I never understood what it meant to pump the brakes until I'd felt the haptic feedback triggers push back so fiercely. Suppose that's what it means to be a simulation racer. In that case, I don't understand how the term came about before this game. However, I've never driven a car before, so maybe simulation races are spot on, and arcade races take more liberties in the name of fun. This is a point I never thought I'd make, but Gran Turismo 7 has such gravity to its racing. What I mean is how the physics engine operates. Usually when you spin out in, say, Burnout, you'll go flying, whilst in GT7, it's far more subdued, which is another way the game takes away from spectacle to support the racing. Everything about Gran Turismo 7's racing feels so smooth and luxurious. I'd heard that simulation races were hard to get into, but GT7 felt highly accessible. It just required a more thoughtful approach than genre contemporaries. While GT7 is untouchable while you're on the track, the issues start to surmount when you're off track. My biggest problem would have to be the mission structure. It's unambiguous yet also unambitious. There's never some twist, and it feels incredibly formulaic, and it makes me feel like an autonomous being. Returning 40 times for more missions and leaving with another is so inhumane. Despite the warm nature of the cafe, I feel so used when I'm inside, like a cog in the machine and a number in Sony's metrics. There's a problem with the missions themselves. The races you're assigned often specify what kind of car you're allowed to use. I love mechanics like this in games that force me out of my comfort zone and make me experiment with playstyles or weapons I wouldn't normally use. However, the problem is that the specifications often require a car you will unlock after completing the race. So for the first race of the challenge, you must outfit one of your cars to match the specifications of a car you'll unlock as soon as the first race is done, essentially wasting your money. This could have been solved by simply having the race specifications carry over to the following menu when you've just unlocked a car that will fit the conditions, rather than the menu where you're earning the car you already need. Those are my major problems, and this is more of a personal one. I also had this issue in Forza Horizon 5, but could the game pick my cars for me? What I mean is, I'm not a gearhead, so I don't know what kind of cars I want, so maybe some kind of randomizer that I could use to buy tickets, so I could get randomized cars. I know that there are these ridiculous tickets they hand out, where the cash payouts are pitiful and the parts are useless, so I only have a 1 in 5 chance of even getting a car. And while we're on the subject of cash payouts, if Gran Turismo 7 were an economy, it would be Venezuela. Your earnings are pitiful and the higher tier cars feel so unreachable that your only method of obtaining them is grinding the same races repeatedly, meaning the game has a terrible progression system. But here's the issue with all of my problems with Gran Turismo 7. Do any of them truly matter? All these systems feed back into the racing itself, and the racing is sublime, so does it even matter that everything surrounding the races is terrible when they all fade back over the horizon when I get behind the DualSense? I think they do matter, but their impact is severely lessened when it all supports some of the best driving in video games.